anywhere that we are collaborating with to be partner on any research that we want to perhaps engage in. So all these are the great opportunities we have with the university. So on this very good note, we have discussed, and it's going to tell us various research activities at the University of Whitty, and perhaps inform us some things that we also need to know about the University of Whitty. But I know that university was established about 174 years ago. 174 years ago. You can imagine how old that university is, and we are very lucky to partner with that university. We are well developed. There are many things that we can share here together, and that is why we are able to get the University of Whitty in collaboration with us. So I want to give the microphone to him so that he gives us some things, information about the university, about research activities in that university. Thereafter, each one of us, or each research young president will also address him, and we now put the floor open for questions, something that's not clear to us, sort of about whatever, so that we're able to have a very good, meaningful deliberation. So, thank you very much for coming. I also want to tell you that we have about 18 different disciples in our tech. Yes, 18 different disciples. So, it's a good thing that we have that. So, over to the my judge of the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Whitty. Prof, we are glad to hear that you are now part of us. So, welcome home. All right, Prof, we'd like to hear from you the activities, research activities in your institutions, what you are doing, some other faculties that we need to know about, some other area of researches that you are conducting in that environment, what it takes for us to know, to come, and some other information that will be useful to us as a university. Please let's appreciate Professor Whitty.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming and attending this. The University of Utah, 174 years old, is considered a research university. So universities in the United States, some are more focused on academics and on teaching. There are universities even in the state of Utah, there's 3 or 4 that train a lot of students, and the students get their degrees, but they're really not research active. The University of Utah is the flagship or the largest research university in the state of Utah. There's another one, Utah State University, which is kind of our brother university. That is more focused on agricultural research. It's also, but they also have engineering. It's also a good school. The research environment at the University of Utah is interesting. So we have many divisions at the university. It's not only science and technology. We have a very large health sciences and School of Medicine. We have a hospital, a university hospital, and much of the research goes on there. In fact, of all of the research that takes place at the University of Utah and the money that the university brings in for the research, about 75% of it or more actually goes for health sciences. It's a really large element of what we do. There is some collaboration between engineering and the health sciences or the School of Medicine, because we have our Department of Biomedical Engineering, for example, that is very good at making new methods for drug delivery or new medical devices to help surgeons and other people do their work. And so there's some collaboration there. But aside from health sciences, you actually ever have the opportunity to come visit the University of Utah, you'll see that it's a beautiful, beautiful campus. We're situated in the corner of the Salt Lake Valley. There's mountains right behind us. And high on the hill, the uppermost part, is the hospital and the medical school. And then everything else, which we call lower campus or main campus, is down below. And there's engineering, of course, which I am a part of. There's also a college of science. So science includes chemistry, math, physics, and geology. No, biology, that's it. Then we have another one, which is the Department of Mines and Earth Sciences, which includes atmospheric science, geology, mining engineering, metallurgical engineering. So those three, so engineering, science, and mines and earth sciences, those are what we consider the STEM, so science, technology, engineering, mathematics, disciplines that I think would be most closely related to what you do here at Lafayette. In addition, though, we have fine arts, so we have dance and theater, we have law, we have humanities, social and behavioral sciences, so everything from political science to psychology to philosophy, languages, all that type of stuff also takes place at the university. The non-STEM or non-science and technology units historically don't do quite as much research as the STEM fields for obvious reasons. So within engineering, which I can speak to most closely, we have 7 departments, and I've named them before, see if I can: biochemical, or biomedical, chemical, electrical and computer, civil, mechanical, material science, and computer science. All of those are research active, and we have about 220 faculty, professors across all of those departments. And when we hire a new professor, they recognize that research is a very important part of what they do because we are a research university. So at the University of Utah, we think about the 3 pillars of being a professor. There's research, and then there's teaching. And there's 2 parts to teaching. Teaching is not only the classes that you teach to the students and the lectures that you give, but the other aspect of teaching is actually mentoring your research students, your graduate students. So that actually is considered part of the teaching mission of the university. And then the third part is what we call service. And service is things that you do to help the university or your scientific community that you don't, you get recognized for it. It takes time. So serving on committees, for example. If we have a new faculty member coming in and we have a position posting, and maybe we have one new position available. I led a search committee recently, and we had between 300 and 400 applicants for that position. So it's very, very competitive for the faculty positions. But you need to have a committee that reads through all the applications and down select. It takes time. It's kind of part of what we do as a professor. It's not teaching, it's not research, it's the service. Then we have professional service. If you have ever participated in organization of a conference or something like that, serving on the organizing committee, chairing a session, that falls under service. Or if you have ever performed manuscript reviews, so a journal sends an email to you that says we have received this manuscript, we would like you to be a peer reviewer for the manuscript, those types of things, those fall under service. So our new faculty members recognize that there are these 3 parts, and we expect them to be good in all 3 of them. And they can't just pick and choose one or the other. Research for a young faculty member is probably the most challenging because the university doesn't have any money for research. We don't provide money for people to do research. We give them a little bit of money if they're a new professor just kind to get started, but old people like me, I don't get money from the university to do research. So we're kind of in the same situation, honestly, in the US, particularly at public universities like mine, where we also are always looking for funding. And the only way we can get it is to write proposals. And there's kind of three different categories, in my view, of proposals. The one that is most common is to submit a proposal to the US government in one of its agencies, the National Science Foundation. I'm quite sure everybody's familiar with NSF, the National Science Foundation. They focus on fundamental science, a lot of the types of things that you do here. The money is quite flexible. The grants are not really large, but they're a good size. But a lot of our young professors like to focus on the National Science Foundation. The grants it's very, very competitive. So depending on the area that you apply to, maybe 1 out of every 10 grants gets funded, maybe 1 out of 5. But regardless, you end up having to write many, many proposals. And writing the proposals is very time consuming and labor intensive, and you have to maybe know the right people in some regards. So another funding agency is the National Institutes of Health. That's a really, really large one. I spoke earlier about how our School of Medicine is very, very well funded. It's through the National Institutes of Health. And it covers everything. It covers different drug development and trials, things like that. But it also works with different types of treatments, different technologies for doing assays or diagnosing the body. So that's a big one. The Department of Defense is one of the very largest funders, and that includes Army, Navy, Air Force, and their respective labs. It's tricky funding to get, and because it is coming from the Department of Defense, there are usually a lot of restrictions on who can receive the funding for that. I suspect that it would be challenging to get any sort of Department of Defense funding funneled to Nigeria just because of the nature of it. National Science Foundation is more open to that. Another big one, the one that funds most of my research, is the Department of Energy. And there are many divisions within the Department of Energy. There's renewable energy, there's fossil energy, there's nuclear energy, there's wind, solar, things like that. There's all these different offices within the Department of Energy. But, myself, I've done okay as a researcher. I've had many grants that I've written, many, many, many more grant proposals, knowing that you have to write many in order to get one funded. So that's the federal government side. I'm probably missing some agencies. U.S. Department of Agriculture, that may actually be an interesting one. Then there's companies, and we like to work with companies at the University of Utah. I do a lot of research with companies, and I like it because there's someone who is absolutely interested in the research you're doing. That's why they approach the university or reach out, because they recognize that we have certain capabilities and expertise. And so when you're doing research, there's someone asking how it's going, which sometimes can be a little bit nervous, right? If things aren't going well. But otherwise, it's nice to know that the research you're performing is going to have quite immediate impact for the group that's funding it. If you do research for the National Science Foundation, you publish and you write reports and things like that. And the National Science Foundation is happy that you're doing the research, but it's maybe not quite as obvious what the impact of that research is going to be long term. We work with companies all over the world, all different shapes and sizes. I've had research with really, really large chemical companies in the US, and I've also had research with very, very 2 or 3 people companies. And the big ones like us for 2 reasons. One is because we have maybe an expertise that they don't, but the other reason the big companies like to fund research with universities is because if I have a student who is working on a project that's funded by a company that relates to a specific technology within that company, the student that is working with that technology becomes an obvious employer, future employee of the company, right? So the company, it's a win-win situation, or maybe win-win-win. It's a win for me, it's a win for the company, it's a win for the student. So we really like company funding like that. It's a very different type of research because you don't, with the federal government, National Science Foundation and the other ones, they will regularly submit it's either called a NOFO or a FOA or an RFP. NOFO is Notice of Funding Opportunity, NOFO. It's the same thing as an RFP, Request for Proposals, or a FOA, Funding Opportunity Announcement. They're synonymous. I don't know why they just don't decide on one. But anyhow, I watch for those, and I have email lists so that when something appears that is in my area, I have keywords, then I look through and see what's available, or what they're targeting, what they're interested in, and see if I have any good ideas for that. But there's a deadline for those, and usually between the time that they submit the announcement and the time that your proposal is due is generally 6 to 12 weeks. It's not a lot of time. And the United States government is really, really good at needless bureaucracy. And you end up filling in so many forms. It is really a tremendous effort to write a single application. But that's part of the way the game is played. But the thing with the federal government is they make publicly known what type of research they're interested in. Companies don't usually do that. Instead, the company will maybe contact people they know, or maybe, honestly, just do a web search for, if they're looking for a particular technology, see what universities are doing that. So the companies really come down to building relationships and, being proactive and reaching out to the companies and things like that. The third type of funding, which honestly I don't have very much experience with, but the University of Utah does have a whole group that works in this area, is foundation funding. So there's a lot of foundations out there, and the foundations have a lot of money available, and they are not as restrictive as the federal government funding. And they tend, many of them, to have sort of a more humanitarian purpose in mind, whether it's, people or climate change or sustainability or whatever it is. And my feeling is that if we can find out some opportunities for foundation funding, and jointly between LAUTECH and the University of Utah, approach the foundation and say that we have a very good opportunity for you to fund, and it will benefit Nigeria, and it will benefit LAUTECH, and it will benefit the United States, it will benefit the University of Utah, then I would like to think that there's a good opportunity there. I know that foundation funding is at least as competitive as federal government funding, so it will take a lot of work by all of us, quite honestly. I can't do it myself. Next time I show up here, I will not have a basket of money for you, I'm sorry. I'll try. But it's genuinely going to have to be a joint effort between everyone. What I will do when I get back to the US is I will talk to our foundation office that knows the different foundations and their priorities and their interests, and see if they have any ideas on foundations that we can get in touch with, and let them know our story, and that we already have this memorandum of understanding is a really good start because it demonstrates that we formalized our interest in collaborating with one another. And I think even this visit and, as we start to work together, will also help in the foundation funders' mind cement the idea that we aren't just a couple of people who met at a conference one day, but we're actually two institutions that have a commitment to work together. So stay tuned. I will let you know how it goes with the foundation.
Thank you, Prof. I think the last source of getting fund looks more appealing and foundation. So we look up to such logic and our research groups. And I think at the moment, Director for Logic Research, we can start with the research groups and their presentation. I will hand over the mic to you. So,
thank you very much. Thank you, Prof, for that opportunity that this gathering has just now. Thank you. At least we monitor it till it comes to institution soonest by God's grace. So I would like to call on the head of Grand Plus Group in Baltech. They've been doing wonderfully well, very great. And the head of that group is a very nice professor, rated among the best in the whole world. You might have read about him. We are very fortunate to have him in our list. I will call on Professor to give his presentation.
Good afternoon, Professor Kevin Whitty from the University of Utah. Dear colleagues, the Director of the Olympics and the Director of the Language Research and Development. It's my pleasure to be here to listen to you, and having listened to you, I've actually identified ways through which you can collaborate on mutual benefits of your university, your country, our university, Nigeria, and humanity at large. Once again, I'm Whitty. I'm a professor of microbiology, but through my advances in research, I'm the head of the nanotechnology research group of this university. The research group will be 10 years old by September this year, just to be taken. And it's a multidisciplinary research group with members spread across 7 departments. Department of Applied Physics is one of our members there. Department of Biochemistry, Department of Applied Biology, and Department of Mechanical Engineering, Dr. Adil in Physics, and we have somebody also from the Department of Food Science. We also have members from the Department of Science and Information Technology and Department of Internal Medicine of this university. And what we have been doing is to look at nanomaterials with cosmopolitan applications. Whether we talk about medical applications, we talk about engineering applications, food, environment, in agriculture, in energy. We have some of our colleagues that have been looking at how to modify solar cells and improve efficiency of harnessing the solar radiation. We have also used nanomaterials to improve the performance of some microorganisms and producing compounds like ethanol. So this is what we have been doing over the years, and I'm pleased to inform you that this recycle has contributed more than 160 papers indexed in the scopes in the last 8 years. And we have 4 of us that are PIs of the 10 funding fund design projects. We also have some of us that have also collaborated with international scholars in UK to win grants. So we are doing a bit in that area. And you have also mentioned regulatory service. I'm pleased to inform you that in this country, our group is one that has organized the largest number of conferences. We have actually been organizing annual conferences on the nanotechnologies since 2017. And the last year edition, which met in Abuja, was the seventh international conference of nanotechnology. So, having this interaction with you is going to provide us with a lot of opportunities that we can collaborate. The director mentioned it. We look at how we can collaborate in the areas of material capitalization, how we can use advanced tools which are not available to us to characterize nanoparticles, nanocomposites, and other forms of the nanomaterials. We have worked on different types of metal and metals like nanoparticles, graphene, and things like that. And by providence, the university has accepted now to establish a center for nanotechnology research that have been approved by the Governing Council of this university late next year. So we are looking forward to administrative framework for the institute. And this kind of a center will be an advantage to interact with researchers in other parts of the world, because the aim of the center is to have a truly advanced level in the area of nanotechnology, which does not exist at the moment in the Nigerian university system. So we believe and we look forward to collaboration with you, with your university, knowing fully that nanotechnology for everyone, because what we are doing is manipulate materials at nanoscale and take the opportunity of using their incredible performances, properties to make new deliverables. So on this note, we want to thank you for visits in this country and to have chosen LAUTECH, which is a great university. I must mention that at the product of this university, and I had all my degrees here. So we will further project the image of this university through this collaboration. So on behalf of our research group, I have just a small souvenir so that it will be the memory of visiting us here. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Abaje Latif, the head of Nano. So, next. All right.
Thank you very much. Our erudite scholar for that concise presentation. We have two more leaders to call on. So the second one is Dr. Abbas Alade, is the head of environmental, water, and engineering research group. So although it's also another member of chemical engineering, and a very good research partner to myself. So I think it's all for him.
Thank you so much. The director international, director of research, and Prof. Nice to have you with us. Because we've been around since morning. With our own research group, we focus more on how we can. In recent times, we have grants towards that, to work towards that, even now. So we hope next stage we will be able to expand and our collaboration will be able to come. But just like my senior colleague said earlier, we have a stage we always reach with our research. We'll be able to go further and even it's really the impact of our publications. That's the area of the analysis of those materials. So we want to have this a record that the university will be able to assist us to go further in analyzing those materials and having enough information about them. Now we want to look at the microstructure of those atoms. We want to see what is happening inside. But for now, we only look at them at the surface and be able to explain them. So we hope that we'll be able to come together. Then, of course, we are under chemical engineering, but notwithstanding, we are multi-diverse, multi-disciplinary. The likes of our directors from applied chemistry, so it's also playing a role in the area of looking at chemistry of the absorption. When chemical engineering, we can only limit ourselves to the physical calculation, so it's always about. So we always have members like that. Of course, we interface with the nano group. We also take the nano material for treatment of water. Just like I said, it's a great opportunity meeting you, coming around, and we hope that we'll be able to expand these interactions. So it's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much. As a most complicated institution, we have another scholar that just spoke. Incidentally, it's my colleague, it's my academic colleague. Started a long time ago, and he's one of the top rated scholars also in the whole world. That's Professor Solomon. He's also a chemist like myself. So then I will just sit back of the house that I will allow him to talk. Because I have to go back home. And, my home, I have to go here. So before I yes. So before I call on Prof, sir, please let me call on Dr. Ms. Oyeyola Yetunde. She just came back from a CPUT in South Africa after a year postdoctoral fellowship. Is the head of the carbon footprint. Is in charge of agriculture, climate change, blah 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 blah. So you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you so much. You're welcome, sir. It will be Yola from the Department of Crop Production and Science. Our research group is focusing mainly on reclamation of problematic soils, such as carbon depleted soils, saline soil, acid soil, agrochemical depleted soils, using organic amendments and with focus on biochar and compost. And we make this product from weeds that troubles farmers. We turn them into useful product and agro waste. So these things are produced and are characterized and they are applied on our soils to improve their productivity so that we will have healthy soils, safe water, healthy environment, and healthy foods. So our research will focus on that. And we would like to seek also collaborations, as other colleagues have said. Really, we are really deficient in the area of characterization of these materials. And having access to this opportunity will really expand our scope. You are welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to start with the existing protocol. I'm sorry for coming late. other administrative duties kept me behind. It's a pleasure to have you around, Prof. You are welcome to that. Let me just be brief. My research has to do with what Dr. Alade just mentioned. I work in absorption research group. And what we do majorly is to use biomass, agricultural waste. We place value on them to get adsorbents. And we use that to remove heavy metals, dyes, and pharmaceuticals. At the moment, we want to take a giant step to look at microplastics. In our environment, we discovered that plastic is a nuisance, and I know it's applicable everywhere. So we should place value on these plastics and see how we can convert them to value-added products that will be able to serve the same purpose that other materials that we have used have served. So that is what we are into. And just like my colleagues have rightly said, when we want to characterize this sample, we know it's a fortune. To do SCM or EDX is a lot of money. And these equipments, they are not readily available. Oftentimes they will be available now by virtue of because of the fact that they are not many in number. You want to do analysis, they say the image is white. So you have to get your sample abroad to get it done. And going by the exchange rate now, it's a fortune. So we would like to collaborate with those areas and where you can link us up on microplastics because we see this as one of the main reasons in the environment. And we have to place value on that to be able to clean our environment and make the environment a safe place to live. So that is what is before us now. And we have started preliminary work on that. And we are hoping that we take a giant leap so that we'll be able to take it to a greater pedestal. So thank you very much. It's a pleasure having you around. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I think we have taken all the because I have to talk about my own too.
Oh, okay, sir.
So, yes, I have one. We have this. So at least I've signed my so just 1 minute. My own research group is petroleum and environmental chemistry research. I have members in chemistry departments and geology, basically. So we've worked severally on the discovery of crude oil in Nigeria, especially in the inland basin of Nigeria. And I think we are getting results. Then again, we also work on remediation of organic pollutants, basically. This has led to collaboration with National Oil Spill Detection Agency. I did a project for them last year, and we are still on it. And again, I have some collaboration with NDC as well. And recently, we tried to tap into renewable energy and be able to paralyze some seeds and giving us bio biochar, biogas. So we are trying to characterize all those things now. So I think again we want to look at carbon capture. Although I have this MOU with a colleague in University of Western Cape, and maybe in the next 3 months, I'll just have a visit, maybe to spend some few weeks there. So in order to really write a joint proposal on this carbon capture in the geological environment. The major challenge we have is how to characterize our char and the like. And the greener one we'll be able to do, is giving us a very good results. So I believe your presence here is a good moment to us, and we just hope that the collaboration is going to be fruitful. So our own request is part of the request. So thank you very much. So I'll now go to the
Thank you, Director of Laboratory Research and Development. I want to appreciate all those who have shared with us what they are doing in their various research groups, and also how Professor Whitty can connect and be of assistance to us. So I will call on the
Director of Linkages, for his message. Earlier on, I told you that LAUTECH is very rich. Many scholars are here. We have many people that are skillful in research, and also that are committed to research. You have heard from many of our earlier scholars in the university who are heads of different research groups. Actually, the office, Center for Academic Linkages and International Affairs, is the window of the university to the world. I want to suggest, as we did yesterday, in order just to have harmonized thoughts, that we should channel all our discussion with the center. That is what we also agreed yesterday. Because if everybody keep on writing, just anything to him, the one his email will be full of some of these things. So the email may not be released, but if you have anything you want to say, what is stop you from passing through Center for Academic Linkages and International Affairs? I want to assure you that you will be given free hand to communicate with him, but for sanity and for harmonization of thoughts, let us do it that way, to stop sort of flush of mails to him. So that is what was did yesterday when we have a meeting of members of our Faculty of Engineering and Technology yesterday. So that is just an information. I think he has given us his word, and I want to tell you that the B and D addition projects will soon be in LAUTECH. Yeah, I know of one or two, some other universities. We will soon get it. We tried to have one sometimes ago, but we were disqualified based on certain things. And some of those things is collaboration with other universities in the world. Other than now, we had none. The few we had then, we could not sustain it because there's no center, there's no unit to coordinate it. But now we have that unit that will coordinate all MOU that we have in the university. And I want to say that we will soon have that type of big grants being LAUTECH. Some of those grants are big money for the developed country and for us in Nigeria, but we only need to pass